Even big old Henry VIII banned it in 1496. But get this one, he had his own special pair of footy boots made. Alright mate, off to the big match. 90 minutes have been stuck between two flabby blokes who ain't showered since the last solar eclipse and munching a horse and kidney pie at half time. I don't know why we do it, mate. A lot of people think the beautiful game is as English as Yorkshire pud or whinging about the weather. Really, it kicked off back in 5th century BC China, what was called Su Chu, which literally means kickball. Two teams played with a leather ball stuffed with feathers, and you had to be a top striker, because the goal was only as wide as a 30cm ruler cut into a silk sheet hung on two bamboo posts. Even more skillful was Kamari about 500 years later in Japan. It was basically a fancy pants version of keepy uppy you played down the park. 4 pairs of blokes in a square had to keep the ball in the air by knocking it off trees in the corners. You'd get extra points if you had Lionel Messi style tricks up your sleeve. Some of us are trying to get to the game here, love. God. Now, when footy came to medieval England, it was a proper people's game. The royals hated it. Edward II was the first to ban it in 1314 because he said these unruly geezers were causing riots. But really, he wanted them to be practising their archery instead and join his army to fight the Scots. Even big old Henry VIII banned it in 1496. But get this one, he had his own special pair of footy boots made. Yeah, he was having a sneaky kickabout with his mates. And he wasn't short of a few wags either, as I recall. But it's no wonder your authorities didn't like it. Football then was 2 big angry mobs made up of every bloke in the village running around after an inflated pig's bladder. The 2 goals could be several miles apart, and forget about a pitch. They'd be playing right through the town. There was 0 rules, and these geezers would be smashing up everything in their way, but mainly each other's bones. Back then, it wasn't really a game, more of a big old scrap. Did you leave your brain cell at home again, you twerp? Now, it wasn't until a Monday evening in 1863 that a solicitor by the name of Ebenezer Morley gathered the captains of a dozen London football teams in a tavern in Great Queen Street to set up the Football Association over a few pints of ale and hammer out the rules for what would become the biggest sport on the planet. When teams like Blackheath found out that grabbing players by the ears and giving them a swift boot in the shins was out, they said sod this and started Rugby Football Union a few years later. But they were tougher blokes back then. Under the original FA rules, if you spotted a player who didn't have the ball and fancied giving him a big walloping shoulder barge in the next week, then you could. Imagine doing that to one of these overpaid prima donna excuses for football players today, mate. They'd be rolling around and sobbing into their hairbands. Anyway, we're here now, mate. Enjoy your pie.
Subscribe here, and in the upcoming weeks, the talking, knowledgeable Badger will explain to you when we first started using money, who built Stonehenge, and who invented plastic surgery. So do it.